I've been diving for 5 years, and I've been diving here at Cal for 2 years. What it means to be an athlete for me is not only just being a part of a team or just participating in a sport, but being involved in something much greater than your sport, and which is just the athlete community in general. So just walking around campus, you see all of these athletes wearing their gear, and especially myself, I take so much pride wearing a California swimming and diving shirt because it just tells people like that's who you are. You are an athlete and you are on this certain team. You put your heart and your soul into your sport day in and day out. Being an athlete means that you have drive, you have dedication, and you are just willing to risk everything to be better.
I'm a freshman on the rugby team. This is my first year playing rugby here, and my 5th year playing rugby overall. To me, being an athlete and being part of like the athletic culture here on campus is about having a group of people that you really identify with and that are there to support you and help you out. Part of being an athlete is that there's 60 guys on the team when you come in that they're all working towards the same thing you are. They all love rugby just as much as you do, and having guys who older guys who help you out, and a bunch of freshmen. We all live in the same floor. We become great friends just because of we spend 30 hours a week together. But with athletics, they really your team really looks out for you, and they make sure that you're succeeding. They make sure that your transition goes well. Your coaches look out for you, and that's a huge part of what being an athlete means. How other people see me as an athlete, it's weird because there's so few athletes in comparison to the rest of the student body. You kind of feel out of place, especially when I go to class, because I'm in engineering classes and there's not a lot of athletes that do that. It's really weird, I'm the tallest guy in every one of my classes, the biggest guy in every one. I feel like some people might think that the stigma is like, oh, like you're an athlete, you don't deserve to go here, like what are you doing in these classes? But I haven't experienced that at all, really. Of course, like sometimes when I walk in late or whatever, because I just got out of practice, I have an 11 a.m. class right after practice ending at 11, so I'll get a lot of evil eyes walking in late to class. But to talk more about the positive, people always, when I tell them I play sports, they're always really impressed, like because they're in my class, whatever, we're in a discussion, like talking about physics, and when I tell them I play rugby, they go, oh my God, how do you do it? Like, I can hardly find enough time. So, you really gain a lot of respect from people when you tell them that you're on a varsity sports team here, because people know how much of a commitment playing a varsity sport is.
I play water polo, and I started playing when I was freshman in high school, so this is my 6th season, or 6th year playing, my 2nd season at Cal. To me, the word student athlete, or just athlete in general, is someone who has a real passion for an athletic event or game or match or sport, anything, and there's so much included in that sentence. Student athletes especially, they give up everything to focus on their school and their sport. For me especially, I think being an athlete is who I am.
I'm Philip Cousins. I'm an athlete on the men's water polo team here at Cal. I've been playing the sport for 10 years. I've played it for 2 years here at Cal. We represent a lot more than ourselves, and it's awesome to be a part of that. The thing that makes an athlete is the ability to push yourself because of a competitive need, and I think that's what every athlete here strives to be. In study groups, in the classroom, you can be competitive, yeah, but you won't have a senior or even a freshman, someone who's just kicking your ass in a set, in a race, anything, saying, hey, you need to step it up because I'm beating you right now. and you'll be motivated, and at one point you're going to do the same to them and say, hey, it's time for you to step it up. That competitiveness is what makes us different. And the competitiveness that we have pushes us to any length, any means to become better. The best athletes I've met push themselves and hold themselves to higher standards.
I've been playing for the past 2 years here at Cal. I identify with being an athlete because it's something I've done my whole life, and I can't imagine not playing a sport or not even like waking up early in the morning and coming to the pool.
I've been running track since I was like 6 or 7 years old. I don't really remember how long I've been running track for. And this is my second year here at Cal. Sports identifies me because I get a lot of my traits from sports and as a direct result of competition. But that competitive nature that I just carry throughout everything, that's definitely a big part of who I am. I think that medically retired athletes are still athletes because most of the situations, or probably in all of them, it's not their choice to be sidelined. I know people are athletes for a reason, and having that taken away from someone isn't easy. It's hard. It's hard on the person because their whole lifestyle has to change. They have to do things. You know, it's like not brushing your teeth in the morning. It's like part of practice. It's like, I'm not going to practice today. What do I do? And I want to practice today, but I can't.
I'm Kate Finley, and I was a rower for Cal. I rowed for my freshman year. Unfortunately, I had to stop due to injury. But I started rowing in high school, and I've always been an athlete. I've played sports since I was a little kid. Always, did competitive sports in high school. And rowing gave me the opportunity to play at the collegiate level. And that was an amazing experience. I really learned a lot about teamwork, like competitiveness within myself and academically. So when I stopped rowing, it definitely was hard adjusting. I really only had friends on the rowing team, and so all of a sudden having all my friends be at practice and me not being there made it really difficult, and I really had to branch out and kind of get out of my comfort zone and meet new people, and that was really great. And I think people still identify me as an athlete. I definitely do. I gave everything to that team, and unfortunately my back wouldn't let me continue, which is the unfortunate part, but I still have a lot of the characteristics that I learned from rowing and being on a team, and I incorporate those in my everyday life. People would look at me and say, wow, like you go to Cal and you're an athlete, like you must be a really hard worker. And I was, and athletes are pushed so hard outside of school, on the field, in the pool, wherever they are, on the water. And we are pushed every day. Being an athlete and identifying myself as an athlete has always been something that I have done and will continue to do. And just being with other athletes, we already have that in common of working hard and being determined and being influenced by our coaches and the amount of work that we've put into our sport throughout our lives. And it really shows later on.
My name is Savannah Smith. I am a third-year sociology major on the women's water polo team. I have played water polo for just about 11 years of my 20-year-old life, and I've played about a half of years here at Cal. It's been about 2 months since my coach approached me about medically retiring. It was something I'd never considered. It really broke me down. It was tough. I felt very trapped with the decision because he clearly wanted me to do it. He made it seem like the doctors were kind of like hinting that I should. It's still tough to kind of, that was a big thing, that athlete identity was something I was very, concerned about losing. And I spoke to a lot of people about that also, and many of my peers were shocked that I would think that they wouldn't think of me as an athlete anymore. And I don't think it's something I'll ever lose, but in terms of, when people ask me like, oh, what sport do you play? I don't technically play anymore, Actually, no, that's not even technical. I do not play water polo anymore, and that sucks. That really does. It hurts a little bit. It hurts to watch, but I don't think I've lost the identity of as an athlete.
I play water polo at Cal. I used to play, so I played past tense. I started when I was 8 years old, I think, play water polo, and I play almost for 12 years. I play all over the world pretty much. I play with my national team, seniors, juniors, and travel around the world with that. And then I got injured. I had pretty serious injury. I had like 2 herniated discs in my spine, and the moment that the doctor said that I'm going to have surgery in my spine, or I'm probably not be able to play water polo anymore, I was lost. I didn't know what to say, how to react. It was shocking, and it was like, I can't say any loss of identity yet, because it was just something new and I didn't know what is the consequences of it. After the surgery, I can definitely tell that it was one of the hardest time period in my life, because like you cannot do things that you used to be or you wanted to be, and it's not depend on you anymore. What I always thought it is. As an athlete, I always felt like if you want to achieve something, you will achieve it, and this is the way I actually got into Cal. And it was the first moment like, okay, no, you can't do that. I think without water polo, without this like the sport system, whatever, I will just lose it, you know, I would just not be able to study. And after the second week of the season, I got hurt again. Yeah, but this time it was just horrible, because at the moment it happened, I knew it's over for good. I knew it's game over. And this moment, it was really tough, because you lose. The best way I can describe it, I just lost my identity as something that I knew, or I was like recognized the most. I was like an athlete. I got into this school as an athlete. I was like play in my national team all over my life. Most people that I knew or I met, it was through water polo. The way I traveled, the things I achieved. I don't say like I'm only, and this is the only thing that I'm good at. And I knew it even after I got hurt, and I knew like, whoa, I lost like everything in my life. You know, you have the feeling. But on that end, I knew it's like not true. But just you need to realize and to find out what are you good at, and because you cannot depend on the sport, especially when you do it like 30 hours a week, and it's a lot. And especially when most of your experiences, most of your friends, most of like everything that like you did in your life, it's like through one thing. So when you lose it in a second, it's just, you feel like you lose everything. But it's like, it takes you some time to realize that it's not everything in life. Sometimes I didn't know if I should call myself an athlete, I'm a student athlete or not. And one of the ways, like my teammates like said like, you're a student athlete, you're an athlete, look at me, what are you talking about? Like, you're just injured right now, but like you're an athlete. And like this is the way, I mean, it's like, it's part of my identity, and like I think it will stay forever. I was an athlete, and I'm still kind of part of, I still related to the athletic family, and it's always will be with me. But it just really big transaction, and then just transition to my class.
I am part of the women's water polo team here at Cal. I actually have never been officially playing, because I've never played in a game, because I came in injured, and I've stayed that way for the past 2 years. I've been playing water polo what seems like my whole life. It's been, 13 years since I started playing when I young, and it was a huge identifier for me. Being an athlete kind of identified me, which I know is the same for other student athletes on this campus. And you know, the first thing that they'll say about themselves is like, oh, I'm a gymnast, or I'm a water polo player. I think a lot of people don't realize that until they maybe have like lost it and they aren't able to identify with that anymore, which is a really hard thing to change when you've identified yourself that way for so long. It doesn't just mean you're not going to practice anymore. It means you can't practice with the teammates that you call teammates and your best friends. You're not in the water, you're not in the gym with them anymore. It kind of changes your whole daily life. And it also changes not just your present of like that daily life of practice and games and stuff like that. It changes your future. I had goals and aspirations in the water polo. I wanted to go play professional polo overseas, and I wanted to go to the Olympics representing my country. And that had to change when the doctors started telling me I might not ever play again. I don't know whether I identify myself as an athlete. That's something I continue to grapple with, that identification, because I'm not in the pool, but that was so much a part of my life and kind of still is. My teammates are still my best friends, and so on the daily I'm kind of like, do I go to this athletic event? Am I still part of that culture? Am I still part of like the athlete community at Cal? And I don't know.